Welcome to another episode of Life and Whiskey. As always, I'm Jordan, and today we are going to look at Calumet Farms 16-year um, single rack black Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey. This is rack number W4007.09. Batch size is 19 barrels. Proof is 106, 53% ABV. Triple Crown winner citation. Um, so this is their 16-year. If you've been watching the Calumet Farm stuff, you'll see that there's a 14-year and then a 15-year, and this year's a 16-year. Found this when I was on my anniversary fly fishing trip with my wife in Gardner, Montana. It was $155. Didn't really want to, well, we couldn't buy it that day because it was a Sunday and you can't buy alcohol in Montana on Sunday. And if you watch my Remus repeal videos, you'll know that I found the Remus Repeal 5, the Remus Repeal 6, both at the same store as I found this. They also had a Stag Junior, but they wanted $250 for it. And I love Stag Junior. Not $250 worth though. Maybe like 80. I would pay 150 for it, but I will not pay 250 for it. And anyways, they had this for 155. They also had the Sam Houston's. They had the Montana version, and they had maybe like a Sam Houston 15. So I think the Sam Houston 14 was the Montana edition. If you know, the Sam Houston did the states. Each state got its own release. And then they had the I think the 15-year as well. So I kind of kept an eye on that, and I talked to the liquor store here in town that I tend to get the best prices at. I talked to the manager there, and I said, "Hey, I really would love to get this," and I knew that they tend to have pretty good prices on stuff. So they got this in a month or so ago, and I picked it up for $135.09. If you watched my last video, I just got done reviewing the Wyoming Whiskey 10th anniversary. My wife picked that up when she was in Casper, and she said that this bottle down in Casper went for $132 there. So $3 cheaper. So that's on the low end of what I've been able to find it for. Now, if you're my hunting partner and you know people, stopped in. One of his friends owns a grocery store, and he was stopped in to pick up a bottle and went up to the cash register. And the cash register, she rang it up at a the cashier. She rang it up at $159.99, which is in line with about what it should have been. And she looked at my hunting partner and said, "That can't be right, can it?" And he kind of played off a couple jokes or whatever. She goes, "I bet it's $15.99." He's like, "Oh yeah, maybe, probably." And so he managed to pick up a bottle for $15.99. Now, if you're that awesome where that happens to you, oh man, totally worth $15.99. Chances are you're gonna find this somewhere between like $145 and $165. Like I said, here and in Casper was able to, 100 in the 130s. Reasonably priced for a 16-year-old whiskey. That's kind of right in the ballpark for what you can expect. So, if you can find it cheaper than that, definitely pick up a bottle and explore it if you're into bourbon, especially high-aged bourbons. But let's jump into this and see where it goes here. So like I said, $135.09 here locally for a 16-year-old bourbon, which, you know what, you can't really argue with that. I almost got a rubber phenolic note off of that at first sniff. Going back into it, I get that again. That's interesting. I don't know where that was coming from. That's third nosing right there. I picked up a very nice floral characteristic. A little bit of cherry, a little bit of floral blossom, very similar. To me, a lot of bourbons have this floral, um, perfumey characteristic, and then you get like a cherry blossom, which goes into that floral, or an apple blossom. But then, I mean, they're very more distinct of like a cherry or an apple in there. I can definitely pull that out. There's a dense note in there. That's a very dense fruit, but I can't decide if it's a dense apple or a dense cherry. If it is a dense cherry, it's more of a like like a Flathead Valley cherry, something that's like that marbled orange red type of cherry, rather than just a like a Bing cherry or a red cherry of sorts. But it's very perfumey, very nice. Get a little bit of oak, a little bit of brown sugar in there. I get some graham cracker on the nose. And some kind of like sweet, like vanilla wafer almost. Very nice nose. There's some other sweet note in there that I can't put my finger on. It's almost a bready, sweet vanilla cookie of some sort. Not quite a shortbread cookie. Very interesting. I like it. I like it a lot. Okay, gonna go in for the taste. Up front, fruit, light fruit, a little bit of cherry, apple, granola, um, brown sugar, a very nice rich honey, and then a nice oak picks up kind of in that mid palate. Underlaying actually all of those flavors is an oak, a very present oak. Um, that is, it's an equal proportion of all those other notes that are riding on top of this oak note, start to finish, actually. Um, but they blend really. I mean, they don't blend. They're very complementary of each other. It's very, very nice. So there's an oak overlaid with all these other sweeter notes. Finishes with a nice graham cracker, a little bit of black pepper spice on that finish. The nose just went all sorts of floral on me. Very perfumey. Going back in. Very floral, perfumey up front on the palate. Then it moves into a nice brown sugar. Get a little bit of astringency on the back end of that, mixed in with a cherry. And that black pepper spice is really coming through on that finish. Extremely well done. What did I say this was? 106 proof. Um, it drinks nice. Very, very nice. It's something that I would say if you're new to bourbon, you're most likely not going to be chasing this. So most people, and this is whether you're new to bourbon or not, most people fall into this category where they like just humans in general want a sweeter flavor profile. This does not deliver on that sweetness. There's sweetness in the first third of that flavor profile, but then it quickly goes into more bitter tannic, astringent notes, not in a bad way and not in an overpowering way. But when it mixes with that ethanol, they kind of come together to uh, to really boost that. And if you're not looking for that, which as I started this by saying I'm not necessarily looking for something with a lot of age on it, um, those notes definitely come out. I find this to be very pleasant. It's going to be a sipper for me. It's going to be something. Maybe not a special occasion, but maybe like a cigar whiskey where I'm only going to enjoy it 2 times a year, 3 times a year, something like that. Or if I really know somebody's really, really into bourbon, I would share this with them. Um, it's not what most people are going to be seeking from their bourbon. So if you like the heavy oak impact and less of the sweeter notes, this one's for you. Okay. Having said that, you can definitely enjoy this if that's not your thing. Like the nose is nice. There's still something funky in that nose that I just can't quite put my finger on. Yeah, I don't know what it is. There's something there. It's almost like a bubble gum or something. Weird. And then on that flavor, the more I drink it, the more the oak and the tannins are coming out and the less sweet flavor there is. Like the sweetest it was on that very first sip. Every sip since, every subsequent one got more and more bitter and tannic, and that ethanol is just punching harder and harder into each one of those. Mixed in with that, you got a nice graham cracker, a little bit of corn dust, but mostly a heavy oak impact with some ethanol and a black pepper. So if that is your jam, this bottle is for you for sure. But if you're kind of edging into bourbon, or if you like those sweeter notes, as most people do, you're probably not going to want to drop the money on this one. And as an overall statement, if you don't like oak as being a heavy impact to your bourbon, you're going to want to avoid higher age statement whiskey. So although all the rave is to be searching out, the Pappy 23 or you're going to want to avoid that. A, because it's stupid. It's $2,000, $3,000, $5,000 for a freaking bottle because the upcharge on that's nuts. But hey, check out some of the videos on how Buffalo Trace is suing their old distributor. That might have some interesting ramifications going on into the future. We'll see where that one goes. But if you're looking for a nice, sweet, pleasant whiskey, I have found that in the bourbon world, especially in Kentucky, you're going to want to be between 6 and 10 years in Kentucky. If you're in a hot, dry climate, Texas, Oklahoma, Nebraska, Wyoming, Western Colorado, if you're somewhere where it's pretty hot and dry, you're going to want to drop that age statement down. Don't be so wrapped up on age statements when you're drinking your bourbon, like, oh, I got to have X or I got to have Y. Like, age is not necessarily the indicator of quality when it comes to bourbon. So if you're newer or not as aware, like 4, 5, 6 years, you can get some really, really nice whiskey in there. 6 to 10 years out of Kentucky or Tennessee, you're getting some really, really good bourbon. Or anywhere that has kind of that temperate climate where summers are hot and humid and the winters are a little bit colder or a little bit milder in Kentucky's case. Kind of that mid-range is really where you hit your sweet spot when it comes to the performance of a individual cask. This is my own preference and my own thoughts. If you really like heavy oak impacts, look for drier climates and higher age statements. That's going to get you that heavy barrel impact. You're going to get more tannic notes. Sometimes it'll push it into that astringent category. But if that's what you like, check it out. 16 years, it's enjoyable to me. It just tips over the edge into the oak category that I'm not as big of a fan of, but I can still definitely appreciate it. So there you go. Drop in the comments below what you can find a bottle of Calumet Farms 16-year release for in your area. Also, if you have had it, let me know what you think of it. And this is the only one that I have tried. So if you've had the 15 or the 14 or any of their other releases, drop that in the comments down below, as well as what you paid for it, because I'd be very interested in hearing what you have to say about it. If you could find like an 11, I would bet that this is probably best in that 11 to 13 year range. So if they have one, I don't even know if that's a thing, but if that is available, you might want to check that out. And if that is available and you've had it, drop in the comments. I'm very interested in hearing what you have to say about that. Also, let's see. Check out Life and Whiskey on BitChute and Rumble. Rumble's piggybacking off of YouTube. So if you're watching it on YouTube, please check out Rumble. If you want to be ahead in videos, so like if you're watching this video right now and it's 2024 and I just released this video, you're on Rumble or YouTube, go check out BitChute, because this video is dropping in probably February or March of 2023. It is currently January 20th of 2023 as I record this. So there you go. Thanks for watching. You guys have yourselves a great day. We'll catch you in the next video where we're going to start digging into these ryes. We have Wilderness Trail barrel proof rye. We have Sagamore Spirit Sherry finished rye, and then we have the ever elusive Midwinter Nights Dram from High West Act 10, one of their finished ryes. We're going to dig into those next, and then after that, we're going to finish up with the Lagavulin 11, the Nick Offerman 3rd edition. So stay tuned. Check those videos out as I release them. And you guys have yourselves a great day, and we'll catch you in the next video.